Namaste, one and all. In this session, we will discuss classroom interaction. In last session, also we have discussed about classroom interaction in digital era. And in this session, we will see different types of classroom interaction, forms of classroom interaction, as well as Flanders Interaction Analysis Categories. So let us see what are the types of classroom interaction. So interaction is two-way communication, action and interaction, stimulus and response. So that's the nature of interaction. So what are the types of interactions that are taking place in classrooms? And in our conventional face-to-face classroom, naturally there will be interaction between teacher and learner. So these are the two elements in any classroom. So there can be interaction between teacher to learner or learner to teacher. So it's a single point interaction. Naturally, there will be only one teacher in a class, and teacher interact with a particular student, a particular learner. In another way, a learner can communicate with teacher. And there shall be interaction between learner to learner. So interaction between learners. Then another type of interaction in classroom is teacher to the class. The most of the time in face-to-face classroom, the interaction will be in such a way the teacher interact with the class as a whole. And at times, there shall be interaction when a learner interact with the class. And more specifically, in this activity centered or issue based approaches, the entire class shall be divided into a set of groups. So in that case, a teacher can interact with a particular group. So a group wise interaction, and a learner in a group can interact with the members in that specific group. So these are the different types of interaction usually we can see in the face-to-face classroom. In many of such interactions may not be possible in digital online classes. Most of the time there will be the communication, unidirectional communication from the teacher. And we have to find out other methods than conventional methods and specific tools for enhancing communication in a digital classroom. So the teacher to learner, learner to teacher, that will happen in a face-to-face class as well as in a digital class. Learner-learner communication also will be happen. Not in the exact class when we are taking a live class, it is not possible. So in other way, in the form of group chats, chats in groups, etc. And the teacher to the class, learner to the class, that may be limited in the case of a digital classroom. A learner who address the entire class, that opportunity may be limited. Then teacher to a group is possible, a learner to a group also is possible. So these are the types of classroom interaction we can see both in face-to-face as well as in digital classes. Then what are the forms of interaction? Generally, there are two forms of interaction. Interaction in oral form and interaction in written form. So in oral interaction, oral form of interaction, it shall be in the form of comments. Comments by teachers. So comments by learners. Both of these represent uh, oral interaction. So teacher comments on some material, some aspect or students action, etc. And teacher learner comments about teacher remarks or teachers showing something description, etc. Then answer to question. Usually teachers ask questions to students. So answering to questions, it's another oral interaction. Asking questions also is a form of interaction in the class, oral form of interaction. Clarifications, providing clarification and seeking clarification. Providing clarification usually from teachers in lecture based classroom. But in an activity or experiment based classroom, usually clarification may be sought by teachers. Teachers to know what exactly learners are doing in order to identify what are their rationale, whether they properly understood things. So teachers also may seek clarifications. So that's another form of oral interaction. Then discussion, of course, is a prominent form of oral interaction in class. So discussion shall be between teacher and a whole class, the teacher or with a small group, learner or learners as a group also. So all these are comments, answer to question, asking questions, asking or seeking clarification or providing clarification, discussion. All these are oral forms of interaction. Then the second form, the written. The written form of interaction shall be in the form of a report card, the progress report, the very famous card form. Nowadays, there are different forms for such report card. In many institutions, follow a portfolio in place of this report card. So a report card communicates the progress of work done by a learner and the remark by the teacher, by the head of the institution, by the parent, by the student. All these may be written in the report card. Naturally, we have no tradition like that. We are just distributing the progress card or report card, and the students get it signed by their parents. That's only. It should not be the actual purpose of report card. There shall be something the parents also have to write, and the students also have to write some justification for his performance. So then only we can uh, consider it as a proper report card. Then a grade card. Grade card at the end of an examination, a semester examination. That is another form of written communication. Then valued answer scripts. We are conducting test or some other written materials. We have to ask students to write something, writing some presentations. So the valued answer script also form a written form of communication as well as valued assignments. And naturally in answer scripts as well as on assignments, we shall provide certain comments, constructive comments especially. Specifically taken care of the comments. The comments should be always constructive in nature. How to improve the assignment and what are the strong points of the assignment and what are the limitations and how to improve it. Those are the comments. In that way, the interaction, written interaction can be possible in a classroom. So the written interaction shall be in the form of report card, grade card, valued answer script assignment, written comments, etc. Then the very famous Flanders Interaction Analysis Categories, FIAC. It's a very famous proposition regarding classroom interaction because the optimum classroom interaction is required for maximum learner performance. That's the basic assumption. So regarding interactions, Flanders classified interactions mainly as three categories: teacher talk, pupils talk, and silence. So at these during that time in 1968 something, he proposed these particular categories, lecturing as the prominent way of teaching. That's why it may given as teacher talk, pupil talk, etc. So the dominant part of interaction by teacher, and the teacher talk has both indirect influence and direct influence on students, or direct influence or indirect influence in the interaction. So regarding the indirect influences, indirect categories fall in the category of teacher talk. Teacher accepts feelings of learners. Teacher praises or encourages learners. Then teacher accepts pupils' ideas. All these are indirect influence. And in direct influence, teacher directly asking questions, lecturing, directing, provide some instructions or directions to learners, criticizing or justifying. So these are some of the criticizing, means criticizing the action, not the personality or the personal aspects of the learners. Many a time it happens so in classrooms, teachers will criticize personal aspects of learners. It should not be like that. The criticism on the academic work, the correctness or completeness of the academic activity of work completed by learner. So from the teacher's part, the teacher talk shall be, one shall be indirect, such as teacher accepts from the part of learners. So the responses from teacher, from the part of teachers regarding accepting when the learners, one learner describes something. It's very good. It's commendable. It's a good response. Such kind of acceptance from the part of teacher. Direct in the form of asking questions, asking for clarification, lecturing, descriptions, then providing instructions, etc. Also direct talk or direct influence by teachers. Then pupils talk. The second category, pupils talk, shall be pupils response or pupil initiation. Pupil response naturally in response to teacher's question. Teacher initiate, teacher ask question and student will response. And in some cases, if some students have to ask some question or seek clarification, Then pupil initiate the talk. So that's another form of communication. So response and initiation are two types of pupil talks generally happen in classroom interaction. And a third category, silence. There shall be some moments of silence, pause, or confusion in between the teacher talk and pupil talk. So that an observer, this FIS is the Flanders Interaction Analysis Categories, usually designed to analyze the classroom interactions. An observer can make a record of it specifically, how far all these things are happening in a classroom, a teacher talk, pupils talk, which is more, and the duration of silence, etc. So during silence, an observer may not understood what is actually happening. Say for example, when a teacher direct learners to conduct a discussion, say for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the students are simply keeping mum or they are noting down or something, and no talks in between teacher or learner, or what is any talk between the learners is not clear. So in such uh, situations, it's a moment of silence where observer directly could not observe what actually the learners are doing, that particular group, what is the nature of their discussion is going, etc. So these are the three main categories of Flanders interaction analysis. So that's the end of this presentation. So we have seen the types of interaction, forms of interaction, and Flanders interaction analysis categories in this presentation. So thanks for watching the presentation. Thank you all.